That's one example. The second example is the same scene. Baby wakes up at 3 o'clock. And the mother says, "I'm too tired to get up, you get up." Husband looks at her, "Don't bother me, you get up and take care of that kid." So they start fighting back and forth as to who's going to get up and take care of the baby. Meanwhile, the baby's there in the bassinet crying. Next thing you know, the neighbors are pounding on the wall, screaming, "Why are you making so much noise? You're waking us up." Now we got the neighbors involved, right? So we got mother, father yelling, neighbors yelling, meanwhile the baby's screaming. Mother finally gets up, yells at the baby, "Why are you waking up? Why didn't you sleep all night? I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm so tired, I don't feel like doing this." So about the time that she finally gets the bottle into the baby's mouth, the baby starts sucking and goes, sucks a little bit more and withdraws. Mother says, "You're not hungry. If you were hungry, you'd be drinking this milk." So she puts the baby back in the bed, and the baby cries itself to sleep. Now, what is this teaching the child about self-esteem? The first example, it teaches the baby that someone loves me, someone cares for me, someone will be there to take care of me and help me. They like me. What's the second example teaching that child about self-esteem? You're too much trouble. You're bothering us. We don't want to take care of you. If you got a problem, you go cry it out by yourself. Do you see the difference? Huh? Do you see the difference? Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Feelings are the first language of a child. And the more we can sing, the more we can play, the more we can talk, the more peace and harmony and joy in the house. But a baby comes home from the hospital, they put it in the crib or a bassinet, and they turn on the TV. And the kid hears all this noise. Can you imagine what's going on in that tape of the subconscious mind? If you want your children to learn a skill, music or art, sports, teach them before the age of 10. Because at the age of 10, a hormone is produced. And that hormone will destroy all of those little runners in the brain that are not strong enough and firm enough. So the best time you can teach your child is 0 to 5. If you want to teach them skills, do it before 10. Now this brings up another subject. Mothers. Most of the mothers are not staying at home. In America, we have 76% of the mothers are working. We have 10 million children under the age of 5 in daycare. 10 million children in daycare. Have you ever been in a daycare? They may have 3 teachers there, and you may have 30 or 35 kids. I've gone in them, and I've seen little kids that were sick, 2 and 3 years old, laying on a little blanket, sucking on their thumb, all alone in the world. And you wonder why our kids don't have any self-esteem. You wonder why they're trying to escape and they don't like themselves. You wonder why we grow up and we don't love ourselves. It starts from in the womb. I remember when my son got married, and he and his friends who were recently married, their wives and them were all working. I had no children at that time. And he said they sat down and they analyzed one night when they were all together how much their wives made, and then they deducted what it cost for 2 cars, for clothing, for more gasoline, for daycare, for lunches out. And by the time they got done, it was scratched. What the wife was earning in income was just about eaten up because of fast food. You're not home to stay at home and cook. And because of all these additional expenses. We think many times we can't afford to stay home. But if you realize that this child is your primary responsibility, there's no job in the world that is important as molding the character of another person. None. Look how long he worked. Do you think they remembered him after he was gone for 2 months? Are you kidding? Probably after 2 weeks they didn't know what he did. But the work that I did will live after me for 100 years. The mother is the primary caretaker in the house. We have the nature and the ability to take care of children and to sacrifice. Mothers and fathers and those that are not married, think seriously before you have children. If you get educated and want a big career, then stay with a career. Don't have children. Because if we don't stay home from 0 to 5, this child is going to be lost. It's a very serious thing. And we're not taking it seriously at all. And when these ladies go out and get educated, they get careers and high degrees. They don't want to stay at home. I remember in the 60s when the women's movement came, and at that time, women finally went out because of the Second World War. They had to go out and work in the factories, and that pulled them out. And then they didn't want to go back in the home. But women were making 58 cents for the same job a man was getting paid $1 for. That wasn't right. But it went to the extreme. You see, equality. Yes, with jobs, there should be equal pay for equal opportunities. But concerning men and women, we are not equal. We're completely different. And we have different roles in society. God created us in this manner. I cannot say enough. I remember when I was young, and I had 2 or 3 kids, I would have my friends call me and say, Rita, why are you staying at home wasting your time? Why aren't you out working? I see this in the newspaper. There was a newspaper article, we just came back from India, and in the Indian Times, I think it was the Indian Times or the Hindu Times, they had interviewed women, career women. And this very famous career woman who had such a great profession, she says that sons respect mothers of professional women far more than they respect a mother that stays at home and just takes care of kids in the kitchen. Such humiliation. I've seen it all through the 60s, 70s, 80s. And now I'm seeing it all over again in India because they've only had TV about 10 years. It breaks my heart I know what